Hey everybody, it's Angelo Caruso here with Dutch Nie from the Nye Family Funeral Homes here in Michigan. Dutch, it's freezing in Michigan this week.
Yep, winter finally arrived.
The weather is here. We had a really warm summer, warm January. Seems like summer compared to what we're having now. When people stay inside, they do more reading. I'm no different. I'm catching up on current events and things that are happening. I thought I would chat with you about a couple, three things that are happening in the world today that are, I think, directly related to the presentation sphere. One of my favorite axioms, you're going to hear it over and over again from me live. You're going to see it over and over again in the membership content, is that everything is a presentation. It's true in every industry, your industry, the funeral business, presentations galore, not only when you're talking to families for the first time, but when families and their guests come to the funeral service. How about the funeral itself, receptions? You're involved in all kinds of presentations in your business. The restaurant business, they say the presentation is everything. What are they talking about?
The food, bringing it out, put it on the table.
Put it on the table, man. It's just a beautiful thing. I do something called the reverse presentation with my server. When they bring the plate over and put it on the table, I'm well aware that almost everybody starts looking at the food. They have no regard whatsoever for the person that just brought them the food. And so I'm in the habit now, everybody's different, but I'm in the habit when the server's dropping the food, I establish eye contact with the server. The reason I do that is I want extra special service when I'm out. I want you to give us, my table, my guests, my family, a lot of attention. I consider you to be a human being. You know, I can look at the food after you're gone. So to me, that's a reverse presentation. So this never ends, this idea of the presentation being everything. In that example, they're presenting my food to me, but I'm presenting myself back to my server again. There are many, many examples of this presentation thing. In the paper last week, a guy by the name of Edgar Martinez is being considered for a very special position. You know Edgar? Are you a baseball fan?
Not really, no.
Yeah, he's about to become eligible, I guess, for the Baseball Hall of Fame. And for the reason, lots of people go into the Hall of Fame every year, but this guy, he has a very strange entree into the Hall of Fame. He's a designated hitter, and they've never had a designated hitter, a pure designated hitter, enter the fame before. This is already a delicate area because there's some of the divisions in baseball, or I guess the league, the American League has the designated hitter, I think, but the National League does not. I think that's how it works still.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll have some baseball fans correcting me on this. But the point is that there's never been an award for the designated hitter proper. And so in advance of this year's election, this Edgar Martinez guy is in the news. And he is so special as a designated hitter. You know what a designated hitter is? I don't want to go too fast.
No.
Okay. So for you people in the listening that are not baseball fans, for the longest time, you fielded a position and then you went and you hit, right? The designated hitter never fields a position. Somebody else fields the position. So usually the designated hitter is for the pitcher, who is typically the weakest hitter on the team. So this is a big change in baseball, and surprisingly, both leagues didn't do it. So it's got all kinds of drama and politics attached to it. But here's why I'm telling you this. This guy is so good at designated hitting that they invented an award that's named after him, and it's called the Edgar Martinez Award. And his numbers are amazing. You're not a baseball fan, so I won't bore you with his statistics. But he's created such a special niche in what he does in baseball. It's almost like his own unique form of presentation in a sport that's been around for over 100 years. It's amazing, actually. When you look at institutions that have been around for 100 years, it's hard to be special.
Right.
This guy, Edgar Martinez, is special. So that's the first thing I think about today when I'm talking about presentations and how special they can be in niche presenting, right? Mm-hmm. Second thing, there is a thing in email marketing that allows your bulk emails to become more effective. Do you do bulk emailing through the funeral home's mailing list?
Yes.
Okay. And you're probably aware then that the secret of bulk mail is getting a bunch of things to happen in a row. So I don't know how much you know about this or how much you care, but for anybody that cares about sending out bulk mail and actually getting results, the first thing you have to get is called a delivery rate. Because if your list is dog meat, no one's getting your messages. Like for a while, I thought I had a mailing list of 20,000, and come to find out it's only 14,000. I had a lot of dead emails, probably dead people, no disrespect. I probably had a lot of duplicates. But once you scrub, it's called scrubbing the list, you get it to where it's pure. So I was really happy bragging to people because I was looking to get 20,000 for a long time. I finally got 20,000 people, but it was a fake number. And what that did was it hurt my open rate. I was delivering 20,000 emails, but a lot of the people weren't even really people. So first thing is the delivery rate, which is based on the integrity of the list. The second thing is called an open rate. And the open rate is predicated on one simple condition. Can you guess what it is?
They open it.
Sorry?
They open it.
Yeah, but why do people open it? What's the one condition that weighs the most heavily here?
The title?
Yeah, the subject line.
Their interest?
Yeah. Egomaniacs would say, well, it's from me. I don't know about you. I don't look at who it's from first. I look at the subject line first.
Right.
So if the subject line rocks, you're going to get a better open rate. And Scott Harrell, our old buddy from Rotary, called me this morning to tell me that he had been promoting an event for Troy Rotary called Mind, Body, Spirit, which we're going to do on Wednesday. And we have these things we call, we actually branded them as a form of presentation. These special luncheons were designed to get 100 people to come to Rotary. Mind you, we normally have 25 or 30. So it's 3 times the normal amount of people. This 100-person luncheon is called Food for Thought.
Okay.
We're still conditioning the club to think every time they hear the phrase food for thought, they should think 100 people are coming, no matter what the topic is. So this food for thought luncheon titled Mind, Body, and Spirit, featuring 2 psychologists and a yoga practitioner, we're expecting to get 100 people. So we set up a registration page, and we're driving bulk email campaigns as part of the registration process. Scott had sent out, Scott's the event chair, he had sent out a number of emails, and he was tracking the open rate of the emails. Now these are Scott's subject lines, Scott's content, Scott's timing, because timing can trouble you too, right? You send an email out at midnight versus Saturday versus Wednesday, right? So Scott was making all those decisions, and Scott's a pretty bright guy. We substituted the subject line that Scott had been using, and I can't remember what it is. I wish I could tell you. But we substituted it with this phrase: self-care is not selfish. And Scott called me this morning to say that the open rate has doubled. It's a percentage, right? Open rate is, you're lucky to get even a 5% open rate on most emails, bulk emails. And so I forget what he told me we're at. It was really early in the campaign, so they're actually going to improve as more and more people open. He just sent it, then he checked the open rate. So over the day today, that open rate's going to climb. My point is that the subject line of your emails is a presentation. And to the extent you have that tricked out, more people actually see what's inside the email. So just to finish chasing the success of a proper email campaign, which we do, I think it's in week 5 of this program under, it's either week 4 or week 5 is scaling, getting to more people. So the first thing is open rate. Second thing is, delivery rate. Second thing is open rate. Third thing is the most difficult to measure. This is called the read rate. Read rate.
Okay.
And that's difficult to measure because you can't actually tell if somebody read your message after they opened it. I'm told there are computer software programs now that will tell you how long you stay on the screen, what part of the screen your eyes look at. Pretty nifty stuff.
Wow.
Where your eyes go first, that's pretty cool. But let's just say, let's just suffice to say, if people open your email, you want them to read the darn thing. Otherwise, everything's
Right.
wasted, right? So read rate. And then the next one's the most important one of all. You could argue it's the most important, but it's called CTR, or click-through rate. That means they clicked on your link.
Okay.
In our case, they would click on the registration link and actually register. You could argue, well, the clicking on the link doesn't matter if they don't register. I'll give you that. But
Right.
you can also argue, if they don't open the email, it doesn't matter what the CTR is. There is
Right.
no CTR. So it's a process. And like most processes, if you skip one step, you're dead.
Mhm.
I don't know why I keep saying dead to you today. And I don't know why. I'm sorry. So the subject line, having come so early in the process, is really, really important. And when Scott had that big aha today, he said, oh my gosh, we changed the subject line, and the subject line, the open rate doubled. This is a big aha for Scott, because he had been using the same subject line. You understand? And a lot of us do that. I know people that send out their monthly newsletter with one word in the subject line, and the word is newsletter.
Oh,
They don't
yeah.
even tell you it's the February newsletter, or the
Right.
lead story, or some motivational phrase to get you to open it. Just the word newsletter. And I'll
Newsletter.
tell you, those are the first ones I delete,
Mhm.
because it looks the same as it did last time. And if it's the same as it was last time, I don't want to read it again. So there are
Right.
lots going on in the subject line of an email. And that's the second example of presentations being in the news today. The third example is an announcement, and I'll just give you the announcement and then we'll talk about it. You know that people are getting lining up now to become president of the United States. We're nowhere near the deadline. We're nowhere near the primary, but people are throwing their hats into the ring because they know there are benefits to a long campaign.
Right.
The latest one, and this one surprised me, is Howard Schultz, the chairperson, CEO of Starbucks. Did you know?
I did not know.
Yeah. And so I took interest in this, not because I'm imagining he was going to run in the Democratic Party, but that's not why I took interest or don't take interest, because I'm a pretty central guy when it comes to politics. I think we should do the right person for the right job.
Right.
It turns out he's going to run as what he calls a centrist independent or something like this. That's the verbiage right now anyway. So the Republican thing didn't even enter into the picture. But I started thinking about what I knew about Howard Schultz, that he created a niche market from nothing. I mean, there were coffee shops, but they were mostly donut shops back in the day. You're old enough to remember this. Or diners, breakfast diners. That was the coffee shop. There were no dedicated coffee shops. There were certainly no counterculture of baristas, for God's sake, like there is now. And of course, when Howard Schultz invented Starbucks, then we started to see all these other coffee shops come up. Big B, is it Biggie? Big B or something?
Big B.
Caribou. You know, there's a ton of them now.
Yeah.
He didn't create the coffee shop. He created an industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then he retired, and then his company got in trouble again, and then he came back again and raised the flag even higher, made the company even much more successful. And along the way, he's written at least 2 books, and he's found a way to innovate, motivate, inspire, and apparently he's getting ready for political office. It's pretty amazing.
Wow. Yes.
It's a string of presentations that are taking him to a place that he never thought he would actually go, running for the president of the United States. And I think, all due respect to the highest office in the land, I think all of us we're on our way someplace, don't you?
Yes.
You and I have talked about your leadership arc. Forget about your career path. Maybe that's locked in stone because you've got a family business and you're all set. You know, at this station in life, you're probably not going to quit the business and start something else, but you might. But that doesn't mean you can't do other things. You can't serve in your industry association. You can't do great things for Rotary, the charity that you love. So, or maybe something else. And my point is that all of these little presentations that we do on the way there take us to that our highest office, our highest place. And you just never know what it's going to be. And I get inspired by stuff like that. So I wanted to share it with you. If Howard Schultz becomes president of the United States, just remember I told you first.
Yep.
So for those of you listening, remember everything is a presentation. Take very good care when you're assembling your presentations, when you're getting your act together. Everything's being recorded now. If you're published online, all of the things that we do set the stage for us to be our very best self. Thanks, everybody.